All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the graduating class of February 2025. We're so happy to have you all with us tonight. It's quite a full house, and I love it when we can see that or when we see that here. So thanks for joining us this evening. And to those watching online, I certainly want to recognize you as well and just offer a heartfelt thanks to you as well for joining us via YouTube. My name is Kevin Steele. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the Chief Program Officer here at K9s For Warriors. Before we get started, we always like to honor our great nation in two ways. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the National Anthem. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Warrior Trainer Jose Marrero, and remain standing for the playing of our National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Before we get started with tonight's graduation, I just wanted to celebrate something pretty special with each and every one of you. I must say that we're still in awe of the amazing support from all of you at our third annual Salute to Heroes Gala earlier this month. Because of you, we raised over $1 million in one single night, and that helps make days like today possible. So it was important to me and us as a family to recognize and congratulate again a few people. So when I call your name, if you'd stand up so we could please acknowledge you and celebrate you. The first would be the Volunteer of the Year, Julie Hancock. Next is the Philanthropist of the Year, Duncan and Nancy Wall. I don't know if we have any representatives of family in the audience. Well, we certainly appreciate them for all that they do. And then Corporate Partner of the Year, Beacon Building Products, who is not here physically with us tonight, but I understand they are watching online, and I'm sure they're standing up wherever they may be. So. All right, one more quick admin note, and then we'll get started. As many of you know who have attended indoor graduations in the past, it can get very loud with the claps, and that can cause a bit of a stir and a disturbance to our warriors and their dogs. So what I would ask is, since this one also is indoors, that we remember to keep it at a golf clap. We certainly want to acknowledge it when the time is right, but if we could just keep it at a soft golf clap, that would be ideal for this setting, okay? At this time, please join me in welcoming the graduating class of February 2025. What an amazing looking group of warriors and service dogs, huh? It's now my honor to introduce each of our warriors and service dog teams and to share with you a little about each. First up, we have Teresa and T-Bone. T-Bone was sponsored by the National Beef Packing Company, and the National Beef Packing Company held an employee naming contest, and the overwhelming favorite chosen by the staff was T-Bone. T-Bone is a playful yet substantial name that invokes strength, energy, and a love for bones. Much like the T-bone steak the name is derived from, the name signifies a robust and confident dog personality. T-bone was provided by Rocky Mountain Battle Buddies, fostered by Stephanie Ridley and family, as well as Brandy Kartsmark, and trained by Talon Left. Next, we have Jennifer and Glory. Glory was sponsored by the Lieutenant Dennis W. Zielinski II Memorial Fund and Joseph and Debbie Panico. Glory is sponsored by the Lieutenant Dennis W. Zielinski II Memorial Fund and Joseph and Debbie Panico. I just reread what I said the first time. Glory is named after Debbie's mom, who worked in the Brooklyn Yard while her dad was in the service. Glory was fostered by Kristen Monger. Are you in the audience, Kristen? Okay, we certainly appreciate all she did for us fostering Glory. And then Glory was provided by MSAR Canada and trained by Meredith Sullivan. Next, we have January and Giant. Giant was sponsored by Atlas Air. Atlas Air hosts an annual charity golf tournament to benefit canines and other causes. Through their efforts, Atlas Air has now sponsored a kennel in our mega kennel and 4 service dogs. Giant is the 4th to graduate. Named after Atlas Air's powerful call sign, Giant is more than a name. It's a tribute to strength, service, and soaring to new heights. Atlas Air carries the world, and they hope Giant will carry January to success. Giant was provided by MSAR Canada, fostered by Kathy and Tom Sawyers and Archana Lamoureux, and trained by Danae Jernukian. And I must also add that the sponsors are in attendance tonight. Are you out there, Atlas Air? Well, thank you. I don't see you, but I see some finger pointing, so thank you for being with us tonight, and we certainly appreciate all you've done for us. Next, we have Tara and Sunshine. Sunshine was named by K9s For Warriors donor Operation Kindness, and they chose this name because everyone likes to wake up to a warmth and beauty of the sunshine. You see the sun and it makes you happy. Sunshine will continue to make her battle buddy happy and bring new light to each day. And Sunshine was trained by Mark Page. Next up, Carrie and Smitty. Smitty was sponsored by Fletcher High School Interact Club. Caitlin Slaveski was a Fletcher High School Interact Club's K9 coordinator her junior year and the club president her senior year. Smitty is named after her uncle James Smithson, who is a veteran and K9s For Warriors contributor. Both Caitlin and her uncle, Smitty's namesake, are in attendance today. Are you out there? Thank you so much. We're glad you're here with us tonight. Smitty was fostered by Leslie DeRusso, and Smitty was rescued from the Humane Society of South Coastal Georgia and trained by Joseph Waldron. Next, we have Alicia and Al. Al is sponsored in honor of the K9's donor, Moss Creek Marines. Al was named after Alan, who has been the long-standing officer of the Moss Creek Marines and great friend to K9s For Warriors. Moss Creek Marines has donated over $400,000 to K9s. That's $5,000 per Marine graduated between 2017 and 2023. Al was provided by Van Hendricks K9 and trained by Cameron Morrison. Next is Catherine and Ace. Ace was named by K9s For Warriors donor, the Boscia Foundation. The name Ace was chosen because ace is a derivative from Latin that means to be number one or the best. The Boscia family has been proud supporters of K9 since 2015. The Boscia Family Foundation is committed to giving back and bettering the lives of those who have served in the military, as well as their furry companions. Ace was fostered by Danielle Lavelle and family. Are you in the audience tonight? Okay. And Ace was provided by Occupies and trained by Skylar Reed. Next, we have Tabitha and Six. Six was sponsored by Reliable Carriers. Each Veterans Day, Reliable Carriers calls each employee veteran to thank them for their service. In 2023, they asked them for a future service dog name. They then took the 50 names they received and they sent them out to the entire company, office, drivers, and technicians, and asked everyone to vote for their favorite name. Six was the clear winner, and we feel it is the perfect name for a service dog. We feel Six will have Tabitha's back. And it looks like the sponsors are watching on YouTube tonight. Thank you so much for being with us online. And Six was sponsored by Love in the Lead and trained by Magdalena Zrona. Next is Caitlin and Doug. Doug is sponsored by Stryker. Stryker is one of the world's leading medical technology companies offering innovative products and services in orthopedics, medical, and surgical, and neurotechnology. Doug is the 37th dog sponsored by Stryker. Stryker chose the name Doug for their sponsored service dog to honor a trauma patient whose courage and resilience embody the very spirit of healing and hope. Doug was puppy raised and fostered by Pam Whitfield. Are you in the audience with us, Pam? Thank you so much for your contribution. Doug was donated as a puppy to K9s For Warriors by Southern Darling Doodles. He was raised, as I said earlier, by volunteer puppy raiser Pam Whitfield. Doug is Pam's first puppy she has raised, and we're so very grateful for all the hours of love and training she poured into him. Once Doug entered the kennels, his training was taken over by K9's trainer, Jacob Weiss, who diligently brought him through those last miles to shape him into the service dog he is today. And last but certainly not least is Amanda and Tijo. Tijo is sponsored by Jerry and Shirley Teague. Teague trustee Barbara Ann Snow created the name T-Joe by taking the first three letters from the Teague family to honor them and added Joe for friendliness and warmth. And it looks like the Teagues are online with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us live on YouTube. T-Joe was provided by Van Hendricks K9 and trained by Skylar Reed. And at this time, we'd like to share some thank you notes from our warriors to those who have been instrumental in helping them get to this day.
I'd like to thank God, my husband and family, the Teague family, and all K9 staff members.
Thank you to K9s For Warriors organization and the incredibly patient and supportive Warriors staff. Thank you also to T-Bone's sponsor, National Beef.
Thank you to my family for the support, K9s For Warriors for the process. I trusted and I succeeded. And Stryker for sponsoring my battle buddy.
A huge shout out thank you to House Mom, Mary Beth, and to Mr. Kevin and Miss Cal and Dan. Thank y'all for understanding me and working with me, and y'all had the biggest, most patience in working with me.
I'd like to thank all the contributors, sponsors, and all the staff. Special thanks to my husband Wally, daughter Jesslyn, and all of my family and friends for their continued support.
I would like to thank my little brother, Staff Sergeant Joshua Jacob. His life and memory forced me to see the value in my own, which is why I'm here today. I'd also like to thank K9s For Warriors for their amazing care, compassion, and support. Thank you for being a balm on my healing journey.
I'd like to thank my family for supporting a journey they don't fully understand, K9s For Warriors for the excellent training, Dan for, well, everything else, and Kevin for believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself.
I would like to thank Atlas Air for sponsoring Giant so that veterans like me could have a service dog. And I want to thank Allison and Brandon for carrying trauma that wasn't theirs. And huge thank you to Atticus for encouraging me to do something to take care of myself.
I'd really like to thank my trainer, Dan. Even though he's young enough to be my grandson, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from his patience, his integrity, his love of animals, and the way he treated me. And I've learned a lot from him, and I hope that he stays in this career for as long as possible and fixes a lot more broken roads. I love everybody here. This is the best program for dogs I've ever seen in my life. It has far exceeded my expectations.
How incredible is that? Thank you so much for those kind words. With that, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating one more time our Warriors of the February 2025 class. So before I wrap up tonight, as I always do, I wanted to share a few thoughts with you and then certainly share some goodbye thoughts to our Warriors. Microphone and speaker has something to say too, apparently. I alluded to it earlier, and I think it's very fitting that I come back to what I said in the very beginning about the tremendous outpour of love that we experienced and we all witnessed at the gala just a few weeks ago. I think, of course, we acknowledge these three families and individuals for all the amazing work they do to support us. But that extends beyond any one or two or three individuals. When you look around this room, we could never, and I say this with absolute sincerity, we could never do what you see right now without the love and support of every one of you in this room. You heard me tonight go through these pages talking about sponsors, donors, trainers, puppy raisers, fosters, you name it. Whatever that looks like to you, as I read through this, I want you to know from me to you that you are such an integral part to this process. And as the Warriors said, I'm so thankful to hear how they felt about their experience here, but know that that's not all us. That's not my team, that's not me, that's not Dan, although he's the greatest ever from what I hear. That is each and every one of you in the fight every day with us. And it's not just one thing you're doing. This past couple weeks was my first gala experience, and I must say that to see you here tonight and to see you there at that gala and to see all the other things you're involved with, it's just amazing to me how much you pour into this organization. I just wanted to take a moment to, as I did in November with Thanksgiving and December with the giving piece, I want to follow that up this month with another sincere and heartfelt thank you. I don't think we can say it enough. I hope you never grow numb to it, but just know that I'll always say it. And I mean it from the first time I've said it till the last. So that's from me to you. I just wanted to say thank you. To the Warriors, it's been quite a 3 weeks, hasn't it? We are here, though. This is graduation night. I want you to understand that the things you've learned over the past 3 weeks is only just the beginning. We've given you the tools that we hope you find will get you from where you're at today to where you want to be in the future, okay? But know that it doesn't stop here. If there's one common denominator that I can share with you that I see from the feedback we get from Warriors month after month, It's that they just needed to experience things for themselves and on their own. They didn't realize this was something they were experiencing because they were amongst all these other dogs in class, or they never encountered that, so they didn't know how it would work out. But now that they're in their home environment, we're seeing how it plays out. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great. The important factor in all of this, no matter any of what I just said, is that you keep, and if you hear nothing else I say tonight, please hear me say this: you need to keep training with your dogs. These are service dogs. They love to work. They will work for you. I want you to remember what you've learned in this past 3 weeks, the tools you have at your disposal. As you settle in with your dog at home, you're going to learn your dog's routines, their quirks. I said all this in the beginning. I want to remind you of that tonight, because sometimes you might feel like your dog's misbehaving or acting up, and sometimes they may be. But as you get to learn your dog and your routine and your environment, sometimes it might not be acting up at all. Sometimes they may be alerting to something you're dealing with, and they're responding to you. And that only comes with time and learning about your relationship with your dog. So my words of advice to you: don't go home and stop training. Don't give up when things get a little tough, because they will get tough. Remember your tools, learn your tools, practice your tools, keep training with your dogs. Try to ask yourself in those moments, what is my dog telling me right now? Is it alerting to me? Does it maybe just need to go to the bathroom, right? We've experienced that, I'm sure. Or is there something more to it? And my commitment to you is, when that time comes that there's something more to it, you've used your tools, you've rolled out everything else, and there's still something on your mind, whether you feel it's important or not, I want you to call us. We will be there for you. We will support you. We will guide you through it. But I need you in the fight with me and my team every day. I need to know that you're training with your dogs. It doesn't have to be 8 hours a day like we've done for 3 weeks now. I never would expect you to do that. But give it a good formal 20, 30-minute session, maybe just 20 minutes, a couple times a week. And then in the comfort of your own home, when you sit down for dinner or sit down and watch a movie, put it in a down. Put it in an under. That's training. It can literally be as simple as that. But the one thing you can't do is go home and stop training. If you can do that for me, I can promise you together we will be successful, whether you're here or whether you're back at home, just you and your dog. Fair enough? Yes. Awesome. Can you do that for me? Yes. I sure appreciate you. Last thing I got to say, this, as always, I always like to wrap it up after talking with the Warriors. So this concludes this graduation ceremony. Before you go, just want to remind you, if you look at these two doors across the room from each other, if you cut them in half, think of that line as a physical line, not just imaginary, if you will, okay? What I want you to do is please come forward if you'd like to say hi, visit with the Warriors, say bye to the dogs, whatever the case may be. Please definitely come to that line, but do not cross that line. We want to always be respectful of our Warrior spaces, okay? If our Warriors are feeling up to it and they want to come meet you at that line, they will certainly do that, and you'll have your opportunity to say your goodbyes there. Does that sound good? Awesome. Thank you so much for attending tonight with us. I love doing these graduations, and I love seeing a full room. So God bless you all, and God bless America.